We're in a beautiful garden in this urban space. Shantell, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about what this plot of land is?
So this is the Urban Agricultural Collective of Charlottesville. It's our Friendship Court farm. We also have farms across the street at 6th Street and then a little bit down at South First.
All right.
So there are farms at public housing sites as well as subsidized housing sites.
And you're from the Charlottesville Food Justice Network. So what do you all do and why and how were you founded?
Yeah, so the network is a growing organization, about 40 different nonprofit partners, city departments, business partners as well. We came together in around 2015 for a Community Food Projects grant. And that was more about us being able to collaborate for food systems change instead of being more competitive. There's so many nonprofits in Charlottesville. We're all doing very similar work.
Right.
And we're all going towards a similar goal. So we thought, how can we be more collaborative and work together to meet our goals versus competing over resources?
And your gardens are thriving.
Yeah,
I've
our
seen
gardens
this
are thriving
growing and blossoming over the years. You've got some mature fruit trees now and stone gardens, and it's really amazing how far you guys have come.
Yeah, and this is just one program out of many.
Can you talk about that, Shantell? So you guys are kind of part of an umbrella organization in Charlottesville that's doing a lot of really great work.
Yeah, City Schoolyard Garden. So we're in all of the city schools. There's about 8 different gardens there. And then we also have expanded our purview to be a community action base. So UACC is how we can touch communities. And then the Charlottesville Food Justice Network is really how we can have a citywide view and touch. So that is City Schoolyard Garden in a nutshell.
Yeah, and so the way that you function in your role as the director of the Food Justice Network is leans to a little bit more on the policy end, it sounds like. So what kind of policies existed when you started? What's the climate like now? And then what is your hope for the future of food equity in Charlottesville?
Yeah, well, it's funny you said that because when we first started, one of the things, the network wanted to collaborate, but then we started to do more of this policy action work. And one of the first things that we tackled was the Charlottesville City Comprehensive Plan, which...
What was that like?
It has no mention of food.
Okay.
It doesn't really speak to all of the community and urban gardening that's been going around. A lot of it that's been community led. And that while that's like not so much of an okay thing, the network partners took that as an opportunity for us to just like elevate our work with the city.
Sure.
In 2018, we were able to pass the first ever food equity initiative, which is just a local appropriation bill that it allows city council, city departments to look more at our food system, more issues of food insecurity that's happening in Charlottesville. So it's just one of those things where if you're a nonprofit working and doing grassroots work, you see it and you feel it. But we realized that it wasn't really being felt or understood at the city level. And that's where it kind of, I don't know, the rubber hit the road for us. Is like, how can we do the systemic change?
You got work to do. Well, Shantell, with such important work, I think that I'd imagine most of the community would ideologically be behind this, but you've met some roadblocks as far as the logistics of making plots like this happen. So what are some of those roadblocks and some of the solutions that you've come up with to work around them?
Yeah, so one approaching roadblock is redevelopment. So Friendship Court, as well as a lot of public housing sites where UACC's farms are slated to be destroyed. And this is a whole conversation that's bigger than just food access. It's also about housing affordability in Charlottesville. And I guess for the network, one of our values is saying like we shouldn't have to have a community where people have to choose between housing and food. Like these are both very necessary human rights. And because we weren't thinking about food for so long, it's not, like I said, it's not in any city comprehensive plan. The city hasn't really been thinking about it. It's kind of been left to nonprofits and all of us that are doing this good work to uphold that. That now that we're pushing it to the forefront, that's where the tension is coming from, because they just didn't see it coming.
Right, and every good conversation is going to have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But you did find a potential liaison in the Parks and Rec department, is that right? So what are some of your thoughts around that?
So I think that's one of the really great examples of when a city starts something like a food equity initiative and they become involved in protecting those rights. It opens up, the conversation for us to now collaborate with city departments, and Parks and Rec was one of those really awesome partners that we've been able to find. There's some city parks that we could think about utilizing to potentially like grow our urban ag base. So that's been really great. And that would not have happened without city council just, opening up that corridor. So we've been fortunate enough to have city councilors cheer for us and be open into those partnerships.
Well, so it sounds like working with plots that are available and potentially through Parks and Rec, you're considering places that are going to be there for a while, so we're not in the same development situation as here, but they also need to be accessible to people, because a big part of your program is the experience of the guests and the residents. And so what feedback have you gotten from them about their experience growing their own food and being able to have this provided for them right in their backyards?
Yeah, I mean, it's across the board. We do surveys quite frequently with the UACC community, and it's like 90%. It's the same figures we see in City Schoolyard Garden when we're doing surveys with youth about their school gardens. It's 90% people value this asset. People are aware that their environment means something to them. Green space actually means something to them. It's more than food. It's also, mental health. It's also community. It's also environmental, like cultivation and ecological sustainability. They love being able to see butterflies and birds and like natural things going on in their community. Yeah, it's beautiful. So,
it really is.
I mean, across the board, the community loves this, and it's not something, if you're not really in low-income areas, you may not really see or recognize that.
Yes.
But they have a lot of the same values that anyone else has. It's just that they don't necessarily have the same resources and power to protect it themselves.
Well, Shantell, we would love to know what can we do as individuals and collectively in Charlottesville to help you all move forward with this very important work?
Well, I think the major thing that's happening is City Council writing comments about your support for food systems change, for Charlottesville Food Justice Network, for the Food Equity Initiative. Other things that you can do is invest in volunteering. Like, we need people to maintain these lands, It means a lot, and we count that. We count those things in a report. We count volunteer hours. We count how much the community is coming out and engaging in these gardens. We do it in the city schools. We do it in the community. And so if you can just spend 2 hours a week or every other week bringing your family out to a UACC volunteer day or a City Schoolyard Garden volunteer day, those are amazing, like, what you could do every single week to just show your support of it, and it really does send a message.
Absolutely. Well, Shantell, thank you so much for your time. It's really incredible what you guys have done, and I hope it just continues on and on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.